about a minute late. I hope we've got a patient crowd waiting over that way. Just admit a few more folks here to the meeting. For anyone joining us, we just ask you leave your audio and video off until after the meeting tonight. And I'm just seeing here we're getting set up, and looks like we're just about off to the races here. There we go. That's one thing we learned in rehearsal too. I gotta mute that. And
say hi.
Hello, yes, and welcome to our folks. And we are asking just for folks, if they are able, we're going to have our audio and video off until after the performance. And a disclaimer, we are broadcasting to YouTube tonight. So anything you say or see yourself doing on screen will actually be going to YouTube. So yeah, we're going to ask you leave your audio and video off, everyone, please, until after the performance, at which time, if you would like to, you'll be invited to have an opportunity to turn that on. So it's about 7:32, and Marvin, Tucker, and I are here. We're two of the board members at the Belleville Theatre Guild, and we would like to say a very special hello to our YouTube audience tonight. Anyone who's tuned in on YouTube, this is the first time we've done it, so welcome. We're so glad to have you joining there. This will be something we'll try to keep up with our live streams, especially if it goes well tonight. I do see that the chat is enabled there. We will say that, we hope you're able to discuss. We ask that you abide by the YouTube community guidelines and just good community theater guidelines. Everybody's friendly in our world here. And I do see we have quite a few people starting to tune in there. So that's fantastic. Welcome, everyone. So
are you able to monitor what's happening on the YouTube side of things, Alex, from where you were?
Yes, I am. Yeah, I sure am. Yeah, so I can see that they're running, and looks like interesting. Has me in as my own account watching it, actually, which is kind of curious. Maybe that's why I'm having the issue not being able to disable chat, which is interesting. Anyway, it's working, so I'm just going to let it be right now.
If it ain't broke, don't
on. Yeah, you've got it. Hello to everyone joining us. Anyone joining the Zoom now, we're just going to ask you leave your audio and video off until after the performance. The time now is about 7:34. We do have a few people still trickling in, so we usually give it a few minutes to make sure folks can get into the performance tonight. And folks who wanted to get onto the YouTube channel as well. Yes, and a little caveat to tonight's performance. I wouldn't normally notice we do have an extreme weather warning, and since we are running completely on the technological grid, we've decided as a production team, should in the event of adverse weather something interrupt the performance tonight, we will reschedule a rain date as soon as possible. Snowstorm, which is a-okay with me. So all right. Looking here. So yeah, it's about 7:35. It's slowing down now with participants joining us. So I'm going to just keep admitting some folks here, but I'm also going to just take a minute to go over some technical tips and tricks that will make watching tonight's performance, if you're choosing to join us on Zoom, just go a little bit more smooth. So one of the things that you're going to want to do is to watch this in gallery view. So right now, if you're in gallery view at the moment, you will see both Marvin and I on your screen. There is two of us. If you're in something called speaker view, then you're only going to see me, and probably have only mostly seen me at this point. So if you're on a desktop or a laptop, what you're going to do is you're going to go up into the top right corner, and you're going to see something that says view. And you're going to click on that. And you're going to want to make sure gallery view is checked off. If you're on a mobile device like a tablet or a phone, you're going to just swipe to the right, like if you were changing the screen. Just swipe it over, and that will actually toggle between those views for you. And then the other thing that you're going to want to do is to hide the non-video participants. Depending on the version of Zoom you're running, you may find that up in the top right corner. When you clicked on view, it may say hide or show non-video participants. So what that will mean is that right now I'm going to turn my camera off. And if you have hide non-video participant selected, I'll disappear and only Marvin will remain. If you don't have it selected, what will have happened is I'll have turned into a name there, and you don't want that. What we want for tonight's performance is so you just see the performers. So again, either in your top right corner, you're going to be able to click view and then hide non-video participants, or you may have to click on the arrow beside your camera, which is down in the bottom left corner of your screen. And from there, you're going to click video settings, and then on the side scroll bar, scroll down and you'll see hide non-video participants is about the third option up from the bottom, second, third. You're going to select that. We're also just, hi there everyone, we're just going to ask anyone coming is going to leave their audio and video off until after the performance. Tonight we are broadcasting live to YouTube, so unless you want to be on our YouTube channel, you'll leave it off, but if you don't mind, then certainly join us after the show for Q&A and chat with the crew. If you're on mobile, to hide non-video participants, in the bottom you're going to see 3 dots that say more. You're going to click them, and then that will give you meeting settings. When you click on meeting settings, as you scroll, you're going to, near the bottom again, see that option to hide the non-video participants. Or it might say show non-video participants and be selected. You don't want that option selected. You want it. So again, if right now when I turn my camera off, I should disappear, not become the name Belleville Theatre Guild. All right, I do see we just have a couple more people joining, but not too many, and it started to slow down here. So we'll give it just one more minute. I'm just popping over to make sure our YouTube looks like it's going great. Thank you for the patience of our YouTube audience for listening to our Zoom tips and tricks. Certainly a little bit easier for you tonight just to click and watch the show, but we are very happy to have you here. And afterwards, if you use the chat function, if you have any questions for our cast and crew, I certainly will do my best to keep an eye over there and make sure we ask those. All right. Well, Marvin, I feel like that just about wraps it up for tech, which makes me feel pretty good because that means I get to say farewell and start to just enjoy the show as well.
You can relax for a little while.
Exactly. So thank you again for joining us. One last reminder, we are on YouTube Live tonight. So, you know, if you're turning on your video after the show, just be mindful that that will still be going. And I pass it over to Marvin Tucker, our host this evening.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. And good evening, everyone. Welcome to the latest online one-act play reading brought to you by the Belleville Theatre Guild. I'm Marvin Tucker, and I will be your other host for this evening's reading. We've been bringing you a live online play reading since well into last year and plan to continue this endeavor as a means of keeping theater alive and in our community, and because it's fun. Look for a new play, primarily new and locally written one-act plays over the weeks to come, every second Thursday at 7:30. The next play in our series will be a brand new play called The Articulates by Warren Christiani and Jim Love. That will happen 2 weeks from tonight at 7:30 p.m. The opportunity to be one of our actor readers is open to anyone that's interested. No need to audition, just let us know you're interested, and we will do our best to find a good role for you in an upcoming play reading. And of course, we're always looking for new plays to bring to you. If you have always wanted to write a play, this may be your opportunity to give it a try. Tonight's play is called The Family We Find, and it is written by Sammie Odell, directed by Liz Marshall. Playwright Sammie is with us tonight. So Sammie, why don't you unmute yourself and turn your camera on and join us for a little while.
Hi, everybody.
There she is. Sammie, I'm wondering if you would like to maybe just give us a little background about your play or where it came from, you know, whatever you'd like to tell us about it.
Wonderful, thank you. Well, first of all, good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for taking time to watch my debut play, The Family We Find. in November of 2019, when I didn't get a part in Mamma Mia, I took it as a sign from the universe that I should be writing. So I challenged myself to write a one-act play to submit to the Belleville Theatre Guild. And I started writing a play about the story of my mother's life. But with just a few days remaining before the submission deadline, I realized that my mother's story would have to be a full play, not a one act. So I had to start over. And I was doing some heavy inner child work at the time and had learned so many wonderful strategies that I felt compelled to write a play that could serve as a platform to share my learning and potentially help others. So The Family We Find basically wrote itself during that 3-day period. And I'd like to actually dedicate this performance tonight to Catherine Hamilton of Brighton. When I met her in 2016, I was at a pivotal low point and extremely fragile, having recently experienced a traumatic loss. And since then, Catherine has been a guide and support to me through my healing work, and we've developed a beautiful, loving, intergenerational relationship. And in the play, Ella is for Chelba as Catherine is for me. And while there is a part of me that is in each of the 3 characters, it's Ella who represents the continual evolution that is my healing journey. So I encourage each of you to take some deep breaths now and feel your heart open wide, not just to hearing Ella's words, but also to hearing your own inner response. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you for being here tonight for the very first performance of The Family We Find. Thank you so much.
No, that's great. Thank you, Sammie. I just love hearing these stories from writers about where these plays come from, the things that inspire them. And it's often, as in your case, a really personal story, pretty neat. So let's move on and get to tonight's reading. For The Family We Find, the following actors will be involved. The role of Ella will be read by Catherine Dolmer. The role of Chelba will be read by Katie Nicholas, and Dr. Miller will be read by Alan McIntosh. The narration that you'll hear will be read by Sammie Odell. So let's get to it, shall we? We present to you The Family We Find.
Out of place, out of time, lost in space, that's not mine. I am drifting, washed ashore, all alone. I want more, won't you? Lend me your compass, free me from this void.
Ella lives alone.
Space that's not mine. I am drifting, washed ashore, all alone. I want more, won't you? Lend me your
You want that chair? Go right ahead.
Nothing I can do.
free me from this void. Lead me out of this.
Ella lives alone in her modest home, which is colorfully decorated with pillows and throws, inspirational artwork, and healing crystals. At the same time, across town is a young woman named Chelba. Chelba rents a room in a dingy boarding house.
Please, please, please just come back to me, please. Please. I love you. No. 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 No, please. No.
Oh, oh.
Here. The
Ella drives straight to the hospital and makes her way into the emergency room, where she sits down across from a young woman holding a teddy bear.
What are you writing?
This is my journal. I always make notes on the places that I am prompted to go to and the people that I meet there.
Did you write about me?
A very sad-looking young woman holding a teddy bear sits alone in a hospital emergency room.
This is for my baby. I came here to give it to him and to take him home.
Oh, well, that's wonderful. Congratulations. What's his name?
Michael, after my grandfather. He looked after me after I turned 10. What is it? Did I say something wrong? I didn't mean to upset you.
Pay no mind to me. It's just that I had a baby once named Michael.
What a coincidence.
If you believe in coincidences, my name is Ella.
I'm Chelba.
I'm very nice to meet you, Chelba.
Likewise, it's nice to have someone to talk to here.
I'm very happy to sit here with you while you wait. Are they bringing him down to you, or do you have to go up to get little Michael?
They won't give him to me. They kept him here and made me leave without him.
Oh, I see. Perhaps we can find someone to find out where your baby is. What's your last name? I'll go see if I can find someone to help.
Anderson. Chelba Anderson. Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Mama's gonna buy you a mockingbird. And if that mockingbird don't sing, Mama's gonna buy you a diamond ring. And if that diamond surprise.
Ella returns with Chelba's doctor.
Hello again, Chelba. You remember me? I'm Dr. Miller. How are you doing today?
I'm here to take Michael home. Can you bring him to me, please?
Chelba, did you call the number I gave you yesterday? The one to set an appointment for grief counseling?
You gave me a phone number yesterday? I didn't see you yesterday. What are you talking about? Grief counseling? No, where is my baby? Where's Michael? Why won't you give him to me, please? Give me my baby.
Chelba, take a deep breath in and out.
Chelba, do you remember giving birth to Michael last week? Do you remember how he looked? He looked like that because he died before you gave birth. The umbilical cord had gotten wrapped around his neck in the week prior to giving birth. It happens sometimes. There wasn't anything anyone could do. You didn't do anything wrong. It just happened. Now, the best thing you can do is to call that number on the card that I gave you, and so you can talk to somebody.
Please just let me see him again, please. Let me give him his teddy bear, just, please.
And what's your name? Are you a family member? Are you able to take her home with you so she doesn't have to be alone?
My name is Ella Bird. Chelba and I are the best of friends, aren't we, dear? Would you like to come visit me for a while?
Thank you for finding me, Ella. Here's my card in case you need to reach me.
Arriving at Ella's home, Chelba falls asleep quickly under the weight of her grief and between the sweet smell of clean sheets in the spare room before Ella retires for the night herself. The next day, Ella makes a pot of soup, and it is late afternoon when she sits down on her sofa.
Dr. Michael Miller, obstetrician. Now, isn't that interesting? Nah.
Dr. Miller speaking.
Dr. Miller, this is Ella Bird. We met last evening. I'm Chelba Anderson's friend. You told me to call you if I needed anything.
Ella, yes, I remember. How is Chelba doing?
Well, she went to sleep when we got home, and she's still sleeping. It's been 22 hours in all. It's disturbed, mind you, with lots of nightmares and noises. But still, I wonder if you might pop over to check on her.
I'll be wrapping up here in an hour or so. I can stop by after that. What's the address?
Oh, that is so kind of you. We're at 48 Seacrest Lane, Unit 4.
48 Seacrest Lane, Unit 4. Okay, I will see you then.
Wonderful. See you then. Oh, would you look at that?
Michael!
Ella goes to Chelba and takes her hands in hers.
Chelba!
Why are you being so nice to me? You don't even know me.
Well, we are all supposed to look after each other.
No, I've never been cared for like this. Not even at the hospital. There's something different about you. You're different from other people.
Different in a good way, I hope.
Definitely different in the wonderful way.
spoken like a true poet. How about I get you a notebook and a pen so that you can purge your pain?
What do you mean?
Here, drink this, my dear. I'll explain it in the kitchen. Let's have a mug of soup, shall we?
Ella goes to the kitchen and sets a notebook and pen on the table next to Chelba's placemat. She fills 2 mugs with soup and sets each of them down on her own. Chelba forgets about the teddy bear on the bed beside her as she follows the smell of the soup into the kitchen and sits down at the table across from Ella.
The smell of this soup is activating my tummy monster and he's growling. I can't even remember the last time I ate. Oh, thank you.
Thank you. I was afraid it was going to end up all over the table. You told me last evening that your grandfather raised you. Does he live here in town? Would you like to give him a phone call?
All my family's gone now.
Oh.
My mom left when I was little, ran off with a hunter who could keep her mouth full of good meat. Then it was just my dad and I for a while until he crashed his car in the river and drowned. Just as well, bastard. Pardon my language. Grandpa died when I was 18 and I've been on my own ever since. I work part-time at the dollar store and I have a crappy little room in a sketchy boarding house crawling with creepy older men who always seem to have a heart on, but I can't afford anything better, so.
Good gracious, child, that won't do. That won't do one bit. And what of the father of your child? Does he live here?
I don't know who he is. All I know is that during the time I would have conceived, I'd gone to the bar with some girls from work, and the next day there was an empty void where my memory should have been. When I found out I was pregnant, I recalled that blackout and I just felt so ashamed and disgusted and stupid. But then something happened. I started to feel love. And then it was just all love. This intense love for a complete stranger forming inside me like a little alien in a host body. And I wasn't going to be alone in the world anymore. And then he was taken from me.
Oh, that was beautifully sad. You are definitely a writer, my dear. I want you to write down everything that comes into your mind and your heart without filtering it at all. You can swear all you want. It will help you to get the sadness out so you don't feel like you're drowning in it. You can write about your folks too, things that happened and how you felt by going back in your mind. Well, you can relive it in a way that will allow you to really feel the feelings, your anger, disappointment, your fear. We can also feel the feelings and then release them through the writing, through the tears that will probably follow, through talking about them, sometimes through swearing and screaming and punching pillows.
That makes sense.
But by going back, we can consider what we learned. We can discover the beliefs we carry about ourselves and analyze them, determine which beliefs are actually false. For instance, if your parents didn't give you the love that they should have, you may think that you are not lovable. This is a false belief. I know that because I just met you and I already love you. You are quite lovable, Chelba. You see, our thoughts and our feelings are interdependent. If you can think of yourself as lovable, then you will be able to feel love and compassion for yourself. And that is the most important kind of love. Loving yourself will open your heart to hearing the voice of your soul. It might be muddled at first through the gag of those false beliefs, but as you start to feel the truth, you will be able to hear the voice of your intuition, and your intuition will never lead you wrong.
Is that why you came to the hospital emergency room? Because your intuition told you to?
Yes, it might take a while before you know which voice is your intuition and which comes from places of fear. But as you continue to develop love for yourself, you will find that you can trust yourself more and more. Your emotions will regulate and start to work as they were intended, serving you like sensors in a car to tell you when something is right or wrong. I've given you a lot to think about.
Yeah, you sure have.
You finish your supper. I'm going to go and lie down for a bit. I want you to go and have a hot bath. I've laid out towels and some clean clothes for you in the bathroom. And there's a robe there too, if you need it.
You're so nice to me, Ella. My heart feels all warm and fuzzy.
Oh, and finish with a shower. When you feel the water pouring down over you, imagine that it is love. Love flowing, not just over you, but through you. Love pouring through your mind and your body, washing away the false beliefs, washing away the negative emotions, washing away the sadness.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds really neat. I'll try it.
Dr. Miller drives across town. On the passenger seat beside him is a bag of clothes that had already been sitting in the front hall for too long, awaiting the trip to the hospital auxiliary thrift store. He knows that Chelba is just the right size for those clothes. Dr. Miller arrives at his destination and parks. Dr. Miller finally makes his way to Ella's door with the bag of clothes in hand.
Come in.
It's good to see you again, Ella.
Oh my goodness, I forgot all about you coming over. Our girl is almost finished up in the bath, I think.
Well, that's good timing then. I thought perhaps she might need some clothes, so I brought these for her.
Oh, these are lovely.
Ella makes her way purposefully to the bathroom door with a bag of clothes in hand, trilling as she goes.
Chelba, you don't have to wear my old clothes. We've got some lovely fashions for you here.
Sweet, thank you.
Ella turns back to her other guests this evening.
Oh, it feels like Christmas to see her face light up like that.
Ella, you seem familiar to me. Might I have seen you at the hospital before yesterday?
I don't believe so.
Do you get your groceries at the Independent?
Oh, no, I shop mostly at the market and the bulk barn. Too much walking in those big grocery stores for me.
Swimming pool at the pool? Swimming pool at the YMCA, perhaps?
Well, now, that would be something, wouldn't it? Then you'd really have to doctor me up because I'd be on the bottom.
Chelba emerges from the bathroom and walks an imaginary catwalk toward the living room, but stops playing when she notices a man sitting with Ella. Chelba and Dr. Miller stare at one another, each trying to figure out who it is that they recognize.
You're the doctor.
The nice doctor came by to check on you, well, at my bidding. He brought you those clothes.
You look like a different person.
Well, after a long sleep, some good soup, a bit of talk, and a hot bath, a person can get cleaned up right through to the soul.
Thank you so much for the clothing, Dr. Miller. They're lovely. I never dreamed that you would come around, let alone buy me clothes.
Well, to be honest, this is not something I do, ever. But there was something about Ella's request. There's just something about Ella.
I know, right?
But there's something about you too. I don't know how to explain it. I feel like a stuttering buffoon, just trying to. And the clothes, I didn't buy them for you. They belong to my daughter, who passed away some months ago in a car accident. You're just her size.
Well, then it appears we are all grieving.
Are you grieving as well, Ella?
Ella lost a baby boy. like me.
Yes, and the hurt doesn't ever completely go away, but it gets easier over time. And you will come to feel the love of your lost one in the wind and the rain and the sunshine and the smell of a forest. In those moments, you will feel like they are not really gone at all. And you will find other people to have as your family. Chelba, would you consider staying here with me? You can have the spare room all to yourself, and I think we can help each other. Some days are harder than others for me, and it would be nice to have someone else around.
And maybe you can teach me how to make soup.
Absolutely. I could use help with the cooking and the cleaning and changing beds and shopping.
I can help you while you're helping me. Yes, I'll stay with you, Ella.
Dr. Miller notices a photo album on the table lying open at the last page.
You know, researchers believe that one of the causes of Parkinson's disease is trauma. I wonder if the loss of your son was a factor having Parkinson's.
I have often wondered about that myself.
The doctor's heart is pounding as he flips backward through the pages.
I have heard that severe trauma can go as far as to change your DNA.
Each page confirms for him what he cannot even imagine as possible. Suddenly, he looks up at Ella to inquire.
Ella, where did you get these photos?
This is my Michael. I had him for 2 amazingly wonderful years before he was taken from me. His father hadn't wanted anything to do with him up until then. And then he wanted him all to himself. And of course, his parents got involved. And well, when you have money, you can make things happen. I felt very much like you do now, my dear. I'm sorry if I upset you, Dr. Miller.
Please call me Michael. I'm your Michael. I'm the baby in that album.
No.
I'm
No.
your baby. You're
No.
my mother.
You brought me back from the dead, a walking resurrect. I am alive again. You showed me what it means to love unconditionally. You awaken
Bravo.
Wonderful.
Can hear some crying perhaps still on
I
there.
think so. I was
Yes.
fighting back the tears myself.
I know, nearly impossible not to. And there is our playwright joining us there, and we certainly will ask our cast to come back on when they feel like they are ready to. Certainly, that's fantastic. There's Katie, who was Chelba, and Catherine, who was Ella, and Alan, who played Dr. Miller. And maybe Liz is there too. Liz Marshall, maybe can be coaxed out,
There she is.
who
There's
was
our girl.
our director facilitator for this performance as well. And just a reminder to any of our audience who are joining us, as we are broadcasting still live to YouTube. You're certainly welcome to join us, but just be mindful if you're not comfortable being on the Belleville Theatre Guild YouTube channel that is something that's happening this evening. But yes, I assure you, we have a very friendly audience, so you should not be afraid. All of us make silly fools of ourselves in front of them all the time. So please join us if you're here. Don't let that deter you. Wonderful. Yes. And if anyone needs help, you can always reach me in the chat. I am Belleville Theatre Guild right now. And I'm also, while I'm speaking of the chat, about to drop a link there. It's to the Belleville Theatre Guild's Canada Helps page. For those of you who might not know about the Belleville Theatre Guild, we are a nonprofit charitable organization. And not unlike every other theater in the world, we have been very hard hit with the pandemic. So if you enjoy the theater, if you enjoy a community theater and you are able, we certainly would not we'll be very grateful for anyone who could make a donation for tonight's performance at that link. So thank you. And yes, congratulations, Sammie and cast, on a very moving debut play. I agree, Penny. And yeah, I don't know, Marvin, our host, do you have any questions for the cast or crew?
There's one thing that I just wanted to mention. I don't think we mentioned it yet, that you heard a bit of music periodically throughout the play. And this is a very personal thing for Sammie, I believe, because that was her playing the music and singing. Were they even your songs, Sammie, or were actually doing somebody else's material?
Oh no, those were original songs for me. Yes.
Oh my God. So she wrote the song, she wrote the play, she sang the song, she played the guitar. This is a really, all-inclusive thing for you. This is just great. I'd like to bring Liz into it. We haven't heard from you yet. Liz, could you, now we're not in the habit of going out and seeking a director for our online play readings. Generally, we set up the cast and cast the play, and then we find somebody from within the cast to do the directing. That wasn't the case with this one. We kind of went outside the cast because of the nature of the play. There was some issues, there was some difficulties adapting it for Zoom, and it was a bit of a challenging play, and we made a decision to find somebody. And Liz, what was your experience in directing this group in this play?
Well, first of all, it was a great cast. You got three wonderful actors. They really showed their stuff. It's the technical side of it that's so difficult. When you've been used to a theater and a stage, oh my God, it's just, it's so different. And you have to stop saying, how do I make this work on Zoom? And start saying, how does Zoom work for me? How does it work for this play? So suddenly you realize that in actual fact, Zoom can do that. Like making sure that if you have an intimate conversation, somebody is moving right into the screen to have it. And this is something you find difficult to do on a stage, but on Zoom, it's right there. So these are some little things like that were fun to find out, fun to experiment with, and made a big difference to me anyway, excuse me, in being able to get some different nuances into the dialogue and the script, so that we could move not from just a reading, but to a playing area. And I think the cast did a fantastic job of that.
Well, I would definitely agree with that. It was absolutely wonderful. Yep. Anybody have any questions for Sammie or for Liz? There's got to be some people with some questions out there. Hmm.
I don't have a question, but I have a comment. And anytime a piece of work like this, a creative piece of work, can bring out emotion like that, it's a success. So it really did touch on that, a lot of emotion. And that, to me, like, a lot of the plays we've seen have been comedies, and comedies is a whole other beast. But this one really touched those emotions. So well done. I thought it was really well done. And the music, wow, that was really good. So
Thank you. I'm not seeing Catherine Hamilton. She's supposed to be here with her husband, Darwin.
She was
I don't
here
know
in the
if-
performance. I don't know if they left after. They were here for a while, though. I know they were here. I don't.
I think
Okay.
she's still here. Yeah, Mike is, no.
Catherine, if you're still on, can you click your video button and your mute button so that you can join us and everyone can see your loveliness?
Yeah, I don't see her in the participants
Okay.
list anymore, Sammie. I know
Okay.
they were having a little trouble with their mute at the beginning, but they did get it sorted
Yes.
out. So I
Okay.
know they were here tonight watching the performance. So I imagine they hopefully
It-
were able to stay through.
It might be late for them. They-
Yes. And we're also getting some lovely comments on the YouTube. Amanda B says, "Great show, Sam. Way to go." Ursula says, "Congratulations, Sam."
One of my best girls, one of my sisters.
And especially Sam. So, and yeah, just some lovely comments coming in there, and some great emojis too, little stars and hearts and cute, lovely things. So, and again, for anyone on YouTube, feel free to ask our questions. And that's something I will ask. I like to ask the actors, and I know a couple have, but for Katie, this was a new one. So maybe it's a good question for Katie to answer. But Katie has a ton of stage experience, as does Catherine, and Alan's chalking up the roster of his as well. And I'm curious how you all found like the Zoom experience as actors. Was there things you liked more, or you're just like, get me back on stage?
It's definitely intimate. Surprisingly, it seems like something that would feel really isolating to be in your own room, in a little thing making theater, but it's surprisingly intimate. So I found that refreshing. Definitely challenging. As we probably saw from the beginning, I do not have a great handle on technology and got kicked right off my internet the second we started. But yeah,
I dropped my phone.
Perfect. We're in it together, Catherine.
That was that was.
But yeah, so there were definitely challenges, but there were a lot of wins. And honestly, it was just great working closely with people again. I just miss theater, so it was lovely to get a little taste of it in any form.
I think some of the challenges that we don't face on stage is that you kind of have to be looking at yourself once in a while to figure out where the props are in relation to the screen. Because in most cases, if you look sideways, the album is here. Because if I put it out there, that's what happens.
Yeah.
There are a lot of issues and passing of things and trying to keep things in perspective that you don't thing. I find it quite unnerving looking at yourself while you're trying to act. So you have to and
Absolutely.
what you need to see the positioning of things and to see how far into a screen you are without going all the way out or going up or something. So it's a different thing. And without the other actor right there to balance off with, it's quite a challenge. The second one for me. So it's been interesting. Learned a lot, certainly.
Absolutely. And we just got a question from the YouTube, and Sammie, this one's for you. Someone's just wondering, is there anywhere to listen or purchase your music online?
Not as of right now, but I can put that on the roster of projects.
Yeah, I think you might have gained a good fan base tonight. I know I certainly have had those songs in my head as I've worked on the sound cues and stuff. So, and then also someone who just has an amazing YouTube name, Fleet of Dribble, blah, blah. amazing, says, great show. What a lovely addition with the music. So thank you, Fleet of Dribble, blah, blah. And also thank you for the smile with your YouTube name. I absolutely love it. So
That's my
yeah.
partner, Nick. He's in the other room.
Amazing. Well, we agree. We agree. And like your YouTube name. So it's great.
Incredible.
Yeah, and there's Rick Penner, another one of our playwrights in our chat, is saying a very moving show that worked perfectly for Zoom. And there was a lot of work, I think, on the part of both Liz and Sammie that went into that. And then, you know, I was very fortunate to come in and together. I just feel very proud as well to have worked on this. And he says, hope to hear from Sammie again. Congrats. And I think there's a lot of us agreeing. And yeah, Nancy, who's on our board, also is saying a congratulations to Sammie and cast. What a heartwarming play and beautifully acted. And I agree, it was a real treat to get to watch these three in rehearsal play with these characters. It was lovely.
I have a question. So Marvin and Amy, you guys, having done this, having had this experience now and having a play produced by you guys online, you think I'll have a better shot at getting one performed on stage when we're back in the theater?
I don't really think one has anything to do with the other. Totally different
Shameless
processes.
plugging.
So like if you're talking about, say, a one-act play, separate set of auditions, well, we actually have auditions for our one-act play festival. I would say it's easier to get something going here. And in fact, we're inviting people to write plays and send them to us because we want to keep this going, you know, as long as we can, and as long as we're not able to get into the theater, we'll look at any plays and do readings for them. So yeah, this is a good forum for experience, you know, getting experience.
And I'll finish up that thought by thanking you again, Marvin, for asking about having the Family We Find produce online. And I'm so very grateful to you that you thought of me. I really appreciate that.
Well, you're very welcome. Now, do you remember, I think it was last year, well, I remember, I think we started doing this back in, when was the first one? It was back in August. Yeah, I thought it was.
It was Penny's show, Wild About Harry.
Yeah. So when I started contacting playwrights who had already sent us plays for the One Act Festival that never happened last year, Sammie was one of the first people I contacted. And your first response was, no, I don't really think I want to, you know, do a reading of this play. So I said, okay, that's fine. You know, we'd kind of put it on the back burner, and then, you know, a number of months passed, and I was still looking for plays, and, you know, we'd done a lot of plays at this point, and I was starting to get low on access to plays. So I thought, oh, well, I'll give Sammie another try. So I sent Sammie an email and said, just wondering if you've changed your feeling at all. Would you like to get this play read online? And it was this amazingly enthusiastic response saying, oh, yes, I would love to do this play. So I was really glad to see that, Sammie.
And Sammie, I just want to say how much fun it was working with you. You are great. You know your play so well that, you know, you were there with all sorts of wonderful things to add and change. And we worked together on I have to tell you guys, we worked together on the script first. And we did this business online where you share the writing and you make your little changes together. You know?
Google Docs.
Oh, thank you.
Our first time.
First time for me, I can tell you. And that was so much fun. It was wonderful.
I think the challenge is to have enough narration to keep it going and have the audience understand what's happened without overbearing telling the story by narration. So it's a real challenge when you're on there.
The whole thing was a challenge for both of us, but for you as well, because I never really thought of that, but you really got past that barrier of I'm in my own little space, and you actually connected with the other two characters, all of you, in their little space, as though it wasn't there, as though you were there in the same room or having a conversation together. You did a beautiful job of that.
And I think it worked very well for this one.
Yeah.
Well written, so it worked very well.
I think so too.
And narrated, yes. narration and the working. Yeah, very much so. My little hovel in the basement.
Yeah. And a really lovely couple comments coming in that I want to make sure Catherine knows came in, which is interesting that Catherine Dahmer is our Ella, who is based off of, as again we learned tonight, Catherine Hamilton had some inspiration here. And so Mike Hamilton, who is the son of Catherine Hamilton, was here and says they really enjoyed the reading and that Ella captured our beloved Catherine very well. So that's a very nice compliment to our Catherine at the BTG, who portrayed that Catherine. So yeah, and just some other nice comments too. So making sure people like from Kate, another techie actually, shout out to Kate, who works in the booth sometimes with us, and about the play and how much she enjoyed it. And Brian, who's up here with us at the Q&A, enjoyed it. And yeah, you know, I cried like a baby the first time I saw this show with you all, like a baby. I've toughened up over the rehearsals, and I even got misty-eyed again tonight, you know.
Me too.
Yes. Yeah, and lovely comments again coming in from our YouTube again. These are, again, the names just get me. Ezekiel 17 Squirrel also knows you, and the story was amazing and dear to the heart, made you cry. And our very famous Fleet of Dribble Blah Blah now is saying that alive again is how you make them feel, which is just super springtime love, adorable. That's so great. That's so great. So it's wonderful. Yes, and in a new world we crossed tonight too, which will continue, which is putting our shows out to the YouTube audience.
Do you know how many people joined us through YouTube, Alex?
One point I saw we were at about 25-ish about over there, and we were around 50-ish at the peak in here. So
Yeah.
I've said this in other Zooms, but we have performed to smaller crowds on the BTG stage.
Oh yeah,
so,
we sure have.
you know, that's it's a great crowd to come out and enjoy some theater together. So yes,
And
nice
I think
message there from
once
Linda, who's up as well. Thank you so much, Linda.
Yeah, once the YouTube thing catches on and people realize that they can access this kind of live theater through YouTube, I think it'll just help our audiences grow. It's great.
Yes, and I did see we hit our 105. We hit our 100 subscriber mark actually through this process, which we were hoping to. So for the following, like we'll actually have a custom URL soon for the BTG, which
Fantastic.
for the little community theater that we're feeling pretty okay with that. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. So
Good.
yeah, very exciting. And I know that our next show, as you had mentioned, The Articulates by Warren and Jim Love helped write. They've been hard at work as well and have been playing with a lot of the Zoom technology.
That's right.
So it should be a very fun show. Oh, there's
Yes,
Ellen.
I was
gotten
lucky enough to watch a rehearsal. It's delightful.
Yes, and actually, I'm just going to do some quick renaming here before I leave you all with your... Catherine, there's no H in your last name, right?
My last name?
Yeah. No, right. I think so. That's how it was before. And
No,
There you go.
no, that's the person that ate the people. We don't.
there we go. We'll just, I got that right? Did I? Or did I get that wrong? Katie?
Nathan,
You're
stop
muted.
it.
You're muted. Oh, Nathan's here.
I
There's Nathan. Yes.
just wanted to say that I was watching too, and it was lovely, and I was crying.
Oh, yay.
Well done.
Oh, Nathan. Such a softie.
The best. The best.
I look forward to being able to go to the pub with you guys all again.
Yeah, I really do miss that.
Yes. Yeah, for folks not in the circle, usually this kind of chatter we used to do at the pub after a show. You know, so yeah, this is our new sitting around and
After party.
yeah, having a hello with each other, which is so nice.
For the first time in the first time in a long time today, I found myself thinking about getting back in the theater. I think it was the warm weather, and there's so much news about vaccines showing up and people getting vaccinated. People that I know are getting vaccinated. It made me feel like you can see the end of this coming, and then I started thinking about, I wonder how soon it'll be when we can actually get back into our theater, and started thinking along those lines again. So that's kind of a nice feeling. I hope I'm not jumping the gun, but that's where my mind was going today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will. We will.
Yes, yeah, we're coming up around that 1 year of the world changing, and
Yeah.
I think again, so many of us have said it, just how much this has kind of kept us feeling connected and involved, right? Like so many of us have jumped on or read in different shows, and even some of our actors who had kind of said, I'm not going to do too much on stage anymore because it was a reading, or it wasn't quite as much pressure of having the rehearsal or the long runs. It's kind of allowed some folks maybe who live out of town or stuff as well. Like Pat Gray was able to do a show, which is a little more challenging sometimes for her with the distance she lives and stuff. So yeah, it's just been so much, so much of a lovely way for us to keep our community connected during these very strange times. But we've made some very cool art out of it. So,
and even just the process of working with Liz and the cast through this last month has been just so nice when we're getting together for rehearsals to feel like I'm connected with people still. I mean, I go to work, but that's different. It's like, this is, it was just like, yes, connecting with people. all good.
All the joys. Yes. It's wonderful. Well, I'll just have a peek over here. Oh, that's lovely. So yeah, someone's making the point, some TikToks and stuff, and definitely we'd like to. And we had an extra army of clones of volunteers at the BTG, boy, the things we could take over the world with. But also someone from London, England tuned in and watched, which we all know is maybe a bit of a time change, which is very, very cool to think. And
neat.
Yeah, we've had quite a few folks from around, which is cool. So yes, Linda, who tuned in, said a cousin in London had tuned in, and I think our very first show, we had someone up in Yellowknife, and there's been people down in the States. I think there was someone in Australia, one of them. So yeah, it's been, yes, Mexico. Yeah, Alejandro, our friend.
First one, yeah.
Yes, of course. Yeah, Alejandro. And so, yeah, in Florida, I think there's been quite a few states now. And quite often we have some friends out in Saskatchewan who appear, who were involved at some of the stuff at the theater before, Joe and Nancy. And yeah, it's just an amazing way. Like, it doesn't just keep us connected. It's actually kept us connected with like people beyond the borders of just the BTG region. So it's pretty amazing. Or, whose family from England flies across just to catch the show? Not too often can that happen, right? So it's pretty cool when that's something that they're able to do, right, in this format that we've had here.
Hey, Alex, can I jump in with a question?
Absolutely.
Playwright question for Sammie. Sammie, great job. Your first play, I know it's huge, and that was fantastic. You had me crying too.
Thank you.
I was just wondering, with it being such a personal story, was it difficult to write, or did that make it much more easy to get these lines out? Or did you have times when you just couldn't really even type because it's an emotional thing that you're writing about?
I think what happened was when I was working on the story of my mother's life, it was a lot of my own personal stuff. But then when I had to switch gears, this story wasn't really my story. It was, I incorporated the grief aspect because I was dealing with my grief at that time. But there was a whole lot of other stuff going on. There was my inner child work. I was working on, behavior modification strategies, and, just in dealing with, early childhood PTSD stuff. There was a whole lot at play. But the writing of this particular play just kind of like came through. And, I'm in this writers group at the Belleville Library, and I've heard people talk about having that time when you're as a writer, when it's like the words aren't coming from inside of me, they're just going through me. And I'd never had that experience before until I wrote this play. And then I was like, oh my God, it really happened. This is a real thing. It happened with me. So,
Wow.
like the soul of it was like coming out of me, but then the language was coming from somewhere else.
Yeah, I've just received a message from somebody I know living in Montreal who watched this play. There you go.
Wow.
And she says, "Congratulations to you and the crew. That was a very touching play. It was very interesting how through Zoom actors were able to reach out." Congratulations.
Yes. And I agree. They really did a fantastic job of breathing life into the characters and that just wonderful inspirational feeling of connection. It was just it was rock solid, and I'm so grateful that they were chosen for these roles.
They came out of a bin, Marvin?
Pardon me?
Did they come out of the bin?
No. A lot of thought went into this one. In fact, I changed people around. I had Katie in another role, and then I was Sammie had said she wanted to do the play, and I really I just had a feeling about Katie doing Chelba, and I had a lot of other people in mind for Ella, and I really wanted Catherine to do it because I had a feeling that Catherine had been given a lot of roles that were kind of similar to each other, and this role was going to open up some new challenges for her. So I don't know if you felt that way, Catherine, but
Yes,
that's something
thank
I
you.
certainly had in mind. So I mean, there was I just had a really good feeling about the actors coming together, and as far as Alan goes, he just seemed to fit, I mean, and we don't really have a lot of men, sort of middle-aged men to choose from. We have some younger men, we have some older men. We don't have a lot of men, period. But, when you're trying to find somebody of a certain age group, Alan was just a no-brainer and just seemed to fit perfectly right from the beginning.
He
So,
did.
Well, it's the first drama that I've done here, so it was a
is that right, eh?
yeah, the comedies and musicals, that kind of stuff, in a long
Yeah.
time. So it was a challenge. It was an opportunity. I went, whoa, when I read the script and went, ooh, this is going to be fun. Well, work.
Yeah.
Well done, Alan.
Supporting three.
Yes,
Well done,
absolutely.
Alan.
Jerry.
Oh,
Yeah,
Hi,
that's
Jerry.
first time I saw Alan. He was playing the heavy in
The Sting.
The Sting,
Yes.
Yes.
and then in that comedy in the fall. So
Any.
it's good for you to stretch your legs and step into. And same with you, Catherine. That's you're always doing these comedy roles, so that's really nice to see. Now, Katie, where's Katie from?
She's been around for a long time.
As
As a kid, you were a kid at the theater, I think, Katie.
She just grew up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mostly did musicals since like pretty much for all of high school. I think my first one was in like 2010 or 11 or
Okay.
something.
What was the first
You were in
musical you
staff
did?
room too.
Oh yeah.
Bill directed that. That was my ever first show at the theater. I did like a tiny bit of makeup on that show. I had never done anything at the BTG.
Yeah.
And you were in staff room.
Yeah, I was one of the
And
kids.
for any of you who saw The Drowsy Chaperone, Katie was the pilot, I believe. Was that
Yeah.
right,
Yes,
Katie?
that's correct.
What was your
That's
first
right.
musical at the theater?
The Pajama Game.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. That was like 2011 or something like that. And
Yeah. Oh,
a long time ago.
No,
Yeah.
because you were. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm like such a. I'm like, no, I'm a nerd. I like. Weren't you in Anne of Green Gables though?
Pajama
That
Game
was after.
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Holy
Yeah, that was
showcase.
2012.
Was
Yeah.
it really?
Yeah.
I know.
Pajama Game
Wow.
2011 and Anna Green Gables 2012.
Yep. Woo!
Woo. For some reason, I thought like I would have said for sure those were in the other order. Well, I'll let myself off the hook for not remembering.
Okay.
You need to look at the photos again hanging on the wall at the theater.
That's it. I don't have the archive.
Yeah.
Technical question about Zoom and YouTube. I see you're recording the show on Zoom.
Yes.
What about YouTube? Can you record on YouTube as well or no?
Well, that's a great question, Jerry. And not one I fully answered. Someone from St. Catharines as well tonight, but had lived in Belleville. That's very cool. And used to come to the Playhouse, which is amazing to stay connected. I am not sure exactly what's going to happen after I stop the stream, if it will live somewhere that I can then upload it. So pending future investigation. And certainly if I can, I think that would be great because we would love to start doing
So
that.
you are recording to your computer then?
Yes. Yes, I am, as a backup. Just because I wasn't sure if it would record on the YouTube or not, or just stream. So I do believe it leaves them up as live streams. So I think it may be there, but
we'll find out.
Yes, there was a lot of double upping for stuff today because yes, we've had lots of mysterious magical moments with tech on this show. Because we've been adding a little more, as I think some of the folks who have been watching, you've probably heard our sound and type of cues and stuff develop. As the Zoom technology develops, we can do more. So there was some new stuff for me, certainly. I know Warren's had a couple cracks at it, but I haven't done much sound running. So yeah, it was pretty fun. But also, it was a curve of the learning. Definitely. But I was saying it felt like the most like I actually dressed in black tonight because I was like, I'm going to the booth. Like it felt like I was like an actual like I was gonna go in the booth for the first time because I had like quite a few sound cues and stuff and things to be mindful of. So yeah, it was quite fun. Quite fun.
Good job, Liz.
Thank you, Jerry.
Directing on a new stage.
I know. It's fascinating.
A new theater.
A new kind of theater. Yeah.
New kind of theater.
Yeah. And lots of potential.
Yeah.
Really. The thing is to get off the script. Stop reading. Start acting.
Yeah.
It's funny because I'm sorry.
No, go ahead, please.
Because we keep calling them one-act readings, there's like this no pressure approach, like, oh, you don't have to memorize your lines, which you don't because it's technically a reading, but because we're all like really next level, like none of us are happy just doing a reading where we're like, here's our show. We're incapable of such a thing. So it's like, we're going to put on a show, but we're actually also not going to learn our lines. Like it's
hybrid.
Really weird. It's a really weird place. We refuse to just put on a reading, but we also are like a little too lazy to actually learn all of our lines. If we don't have to, we're not gonna.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's this weird, lazy COVID phenomena.
And it's fascinating to watch how people are actually looking at their script. Some people go sideways to look at their script. Some people look it down. And you can barely catch them doing that. but they do.
I know some people who like have it as a Word document. So they have like their
split screen
here and then their document. But what that ends up doing from a technical point of view is it casts this white glare from their Word document, and so it's hard to see their face. You're like, their glasses are glaring, or their faces are washed out, and it's like, I get what you're doing because you don't want to look to the side to your script. It's like, but I can't see your face now. Like, so it's kind of interesting, like all the different techniques people are trying to make it look like they're not reading because we're too lazy to learn all the lines. But sorry, not say lazy.
No, it's true. That was one thing I had because I have my laptop
in front of me, so I had to make all this softer lighting to kind of compensate for that and have like a massive like literal salt lamp beside me. Like,
Well, I feel like I could just reach out and grab mine.
I've got this all the time, softening my light.
You could,
without it, this is how I look. So then I a little this, a little that.
Oh, that's perfect.
You could lower the screen brightness.
Mm-hmm.
Ah.
Yeah,
I did do that.
This is me with no screen break. I don't know if it fixes it.
Well, no, I'm talking if you're worried about the
Word
script.
document. I know. Let me try. This is an experiment. Now we're all in this together.
I know now, like you watch all the theater people, I'm like, I could have boosted my lighting a little bit over here, like
Yeah, I
bright,
see what you're
bright.
talking
Like,
about.
Look at my face though now that my Word document's open. Right?
it's very glowing.
Oh yeah, very.
You're highlighted.
I'll minimize it, and it's like a nice warm glow, as opposed to Word document, where I'm like, washed. Yeah. So it's interesting, like, and I keep saying to people who ask, you know, they know I'm involved in the theater, and they're like, oh, I guess you guys really miss the theater. I say, yeah, we do, but we're doing these Zoom readings, and they're like, Zoom readings? How do you do those? I'm like, it's literally like a Zoom meeting, but we're putting on a show. And I explain how you can like be a non-video participant, and you know, there's all these things I say, and everyone rehearses, and they say, well, do they memorize their lines? And sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. And but I said the thing though about the arts is that if we aren't able as a community to go, well, this is where we are now, this is what we have, can we do something with it? If we can't say yes to to that question, then what is the arts? Like if arts for us is only having a stage and our building and our costumes, and then we're not doing theater justice, right? Like, so to be kind of stuck doing it like this, it's not ideal, obviously, but it's fascinating and it's beautiful. And there's shows that come out like your Sammie's where it's like I'm sure it would also be beautiful on stage, but there was something about it that was extra beautiful being alone. Like me personally, I don't want to cry in front of other people, especially my theater friends, right? So to be able to feel safe at home with my cat and my glass of wine and to just feel safe crying in a show was really nice. Like, and so that to me it's beautiful, and that's art and that's theater. And we're doing it, like we're doing something different, and we're not just kind of fading away and wilting in the background. We're embracing what we have, and art is living. And I'm just so impressed every time that I attend a one act. I'm like, oh, I did not see this coming. It's amazing. So congrats to everyone again.
Yeah,
on
it was
on everything.
It was good.
Oh, my cat.
Okay, I have to go and eat now.
Yeah, I think a few of us are getting there.
I didn't eat before all this. So
oh my goodness.
I have to go eat.
I ate right before the show, just like a real show, eating as a gift.
Yes. Awesome. And I do appreciate that message from Kate. I do record to my computer, not onto the cloud typically, but that's a good point. If anyone does use Zoom for that, apparently some are starting to go after about a day. And then just a gentle reminder again, Marvin, our next play, well, it's every 2 weeks on Thursday night, same bat time, same bat channel. Yep. But is if you want to just shout that one out again, is the
Articulates by Warren Christiani and Jim Love.
There's a lot of mumbling. It's so good.
Well,
March
25th. If I'm not mistaken, this one is written with Zoom in mind, is it not?
Yes, he wanted to do something like that.
He wrote it pre-Zoom. He wrote it a few years ago. I read it probably 2 years ago, but then he kind of put it on the back burner, actually, because he didn't think it would make a great stage play. He said, I think it's kind of boring for a stage play. So then it's amazing. I love that he reintroduced it as Zoom, because it'll be so good as Zoom, because just how, it'll be so good. There's so much mumbling.
Wonderful.
We'll look forward to that in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
Yes. Excellent. All right. Okay. So we'll just, I'm going to end our live stream here to YouTube, so we can say farewell,